A cautionary tale about metal flake, this week on Learning Curve. Hi, I'm Spencer Thomas. I want to thank you for watching Learning Curve. If you're new to the channel, if you could like, share, and subscribe, all of that would be amazing. And I know this is kind of a big ask, but if it's at all possible, if you could have like a very cute child and then go on social media and make like this big deal about recording their first words and do that for months, like really build it up, make it like, you know, this international sensation, and then have their first words be, "You should watch Learning Curve," or something like that, Boy, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you. It's too much, but it's just right. Thanks. This week on Learning Curve, I'm going to share my tale of getting a metal flake finish on a guitar, and it is a harrowing one. So first of all, this first little segment here isn't part of getting the metal flake finish, but I just wanted to point this out so there's no confusion. Well, this guitar originally had two pickups, but I use the middle pickup a lot, and I use the middle pickup a lot when I perform, so I wanted to use this guitar when I perform, so I added a third pickup, completely independent of the metal flake. I did it at the same time, but if you metal flake your guitar, it's not going to sprout a middle pickup. I just want to clear that up real quick and make sure there's no confusion. Metal flake paint does not grow pickups in the middle of your guitar. Now we're clear. Okay, moving on. So the first thing I did was strip off the old finish with 80 grit sandpaper. Now, the finish on this guitar has only been there for a year, and I kind of went out on a limb and tried to do some work with stencils, and it came out okay, but it just wasn't as crisp as I wanted it to be, and it looked kind of okay, but kind of not okay. It's possible I'm not very good at finishing guitars. I'm willing to, like, entertain that possibility, but I'm also just, I'm trying to learn. That's why we're here. So I stripped off the paint with 80 grit sandpaper. If you're going to do that, first of all, use a block. I use a rubber eraser. I learned that from Highline Guitar. I will link to their page in the comments because I learned a lot about guitar finish from the Highline Guitar page. I think they do a really good job. Now, I use a rubber eraser because, as they pointed out on Highline Guitar, it works with the contours. It's got a little bit of give to it, but it also supports the sandpaper, so it's even, but it will, you know, you can go in the bends and things like that. You don't have to make the, I don't know what this is. I guess that's me holding the eraser with the sandpaper going along. It's fine. 80 grit sandpaper will take some wood with it, so be careful. Use it sparingly. Don't go crazy with it. Pay attention to what you're doing. Now, after I had the 80 grit done, I did not do a round of wood grain filler. I did do a pass of 150 sandpaper, then 200 grit sandpaper, then 300 grit sandpaper, and that got it back to kind of like pretty close to its original state. I did not, however, do wood grain filler. That will come into play later. The other place I learned about guitar finish from was from a kit that I bought from StewMac, and they sent me 4 cans of clear lacquer, a can of vinyl sealer, and a can of colored lacquer or paint. This can of vinyl sealer has done that yellow guitar. It did the green guitar the first time when it was blonde. We're going to find out that the first time I did metal flake didn't work, so it did vinyl sealer on that coat, stripped everything off. Third guitar with that can of vinyl sealer, and then I think I could still get 2 or 3 more guitars out of it. Also, I still have clear coat, so if you find yourself looking for guitar finish and you see one of those color kits that StewMac sometimes has on sale, I gotta say, man, the color they sent wasn't Wasn't my favorite. But I got so much out of the kit, and I still have wood grain filler too. Like, you can do so many guitars with one color kit, especially if you're willing to buy different color. Like, the pigmented color is the thing you use the least of when you're finishing a guitar. So, shout out to StewMac. Those are great. Also, the directions did a nice job. And they make it simple, and they walk me through it. And that is, the StewMac directions are what I'm basing a lot of my spray paint finishing technique on. So, like I said, I put down a coat of StewMac vinyl sealer, and then, like, I let the vinyl sit for like an hour, and I bought these cans of Rust-Oleum glitter paint, and I didn't really do any homework, because I'm like, oh, it's the same as paint, and it's got glitter in it, but it works like paint, because it's in a can, and that's, like, I know better. Like, you're using a different thing. Do, like, a little bit of homework. But first pass, I'll admit it, I thought I knew everything. I didn't. I put the vinyl down, and then I go to put the first layer of glitter paint, and and by the way, I did not video this, and I am sorry. I was planning on going on hiatus for a little bit, but I like doing the channel, so we'll just see how it pans out. But I apologize for not doing a better job of documenting this. I'm sorry, you're going to have to take my word for it. So I put down the first layer of glitter paint, and it's got a green hue to it, and it's sparkly, but it is also transparent. So, again, I'm not great with finish, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'll lay down like 4 more layers of glitter coat, and that way it will not be transparent, and it'll also be super, super glittery. Here's the thing. Glitter paint has little chunks of metal in it, and that's what makes it glittery. And those little chunks of metal are shaped like little chunks of metal. They're not shaped like paint molecules. They're shaped like chunks of metal. So they don't interact with things like clear coat the same way that regular paint does. So you have to treat them differently. And you don't want to put a lot of layers of it on, because what you're doing is creating this surface of just all these pointy, jaggedy things that are stacked on top of each other, and it ends up looking like the moon. I quickly realized that there was no amount of sparkle that was going to make this thing like a solid green. So I needed to put down a base coat. And I know base coat and top coats do different things. It's in the name. The base coat goes on the base. The top coat goes on the top. That's why they call them that. But I'm already in the woods, and I figured, well, let's just see what happens. So I sprayed some green, some flat green on top of the glitter, and now you have an irregularly textured flat green with a little bit of sparkles shining through it. So I added even more glitter, making it even more difficult and more rough of a surface. Then I clear coated it, and I did all the painting. I don't remember. I did not document this very well, and I didn't do it right, so it doesn't matter. I think this took about 3 or 4 days. Okay, but I did after I put the extra glitter on top of the base coat. I added like 3 layers of clear coat, and then I did a 400 grit wet sand, and then I did like 4 more layers of clear coat. And boy, I made a lot of mistakes. Like, I screwed up when I was painting it. I got this really bad drip right here that just did not come out. The surface is so irregular that I couldn't get, it just looked soapy. It looked weird and bad. And sometimes you have to go, okay, this didn't work. Let's try again. Also, I did not tape off the neck pocket properly. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this was so that I could add a shim. So when I put the shim in, that was way too much extra in the neck pocket, and it just played bad. There's no clearance at the bottom of the neck, and everything's buzzing, and it's terrible. So I played it for a little bit without the shim, and it was fine, but it was kind of back to where I started, which was near the nut is great, but when you get up into the dweedly D section, you know, above the 10th fret, it was a little higher than I wanted it to be, and I felt like it could be almost, you know, I don't think anything's perfect, but I think it could be better than it was. So I like swallowed my pride and said, let's just do it again. Back to the drawing board. I stripped all the paint off again. I was very careful to clean out the pocket the best I could. I once again did not use wood filler, and that will come into play later. I did do another layer of vinyl, so this is my third coating of vinyl. And again, that can is still going strong. Thanks, StuMac. So I put down the vinyl. I let it dry for an hour. I added 3 coats of flat green from Rust-Oleum. I let that sit for an hour in between each layer. Then I added a coat of sparkle. I let that dry for an hour. And then I think I let it sit overnight. And then I did 3 coats of clear coat. Let that sit overnight. Then I did a 400 grit wet sand. And again, I really apologize for not documenting this. I was just doing this for personal use, and I was going to kind of, whatever. Anyway, I sanded through the finish. So I had a little bit of wood showing through the green, and I went back, again, Highline. Great set of videos. Please check them out. Show me how to fix this. What you do is you take a Q-tip, you get like a jar, you spray the finish into the jar, so you've got like spray paint in the jar. Take your Q-tip, dip it in there, lightly apply it to the area that's exposed. And then I put a little more glitter on top of that so it was shiny. And then I let it dry. I let all that stuff dry for a night. And then the next day I used the Rust-Oleum glitter finish because it's thicker and it's designed to work with glitter. And I think I did 4 coats of that, letting it dry an hour in between coats. Now, one of the reasons this looks better is I've just gotten better at applying spray paint. I'm better at keeping my distance and going smoothly and evenly. And I think that is the big trick to not getting drips. Temperature control also helps. But I really think it's just a matter of going slow and keeping the spray can, you know, I think it's supposed to be like 18 inches away from the guitar body, and being patient and being mindful. Like everything in life, be patient, be mindful, you'll do better work. Initially, I wasn't going to do a wet dry sand on this guitar at all, because it did look pretty great before I sanded it. It's got a real like 3-dimensional depth to it, which I think is cool. And I wanted the surface to look a little liquidy. I think I might need better skills or better tools to get that specific finish. But it also felt really weird. I didn't like the texture. So I did a wet dry sand under the pickguard to see if I would like it, and I did. And then I just decided to just do the whole body. So I did. And if you've never done wet dry sand, what I was shown to do is you get a little container of water, add like a drop of dishwashing, like dish soap to it, and be careful. I've used too much dish soap in the past, and you end up getting like this layer of soap on your guitar, which is not what you're shooting for. You just want a little bit. I did 1000 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit, again using the eraser, and then I did the swirl remover, and then I did the fine finish, and those two are StuMac polishes. And once I got those done, there was still a little bit of soapiness to it that I wasn't crazy about. So what I decided to do was once again go back to my Highline videos, and they recommend using a combination of polyurethane and mineral spirits, and you mix them together at a 1-to-1 ratio. And then I just took a low fiber paper towel and wiped it on as thin as I could over the whole guitar, and it filled in all of those spots, and now I've got a pretty decent finish. Once again, I did not use wood grain filler, so you can see some wood grain. If I wasn't the kind of person that was willing to admit that I'd made a mistake, I could just say that I was going for rustic pixie dust for this finish. That's how it's supposed to look. And I'm fine with it. It's okay. It is a little weird, but I'm really happy with how it looks, and it does have like a good, like a depth to the glow, or a depth to the sparkle to it, which is what I want. The finish is pretty even. That final coat of polyurethane and mineral spirits really, it did fill in those gaps like I was hoping it would. And honestly, I think I'm happy. I think I like how it came out. Now I did also add the shim, and it worked great. Now the action is really what I was envisioning when I added the shim in the first place, and the middle pickup sounds fantastic. So all in all, I think I might buy one of those Rock Rabbit kill switch controls, because it's fun, man. But I think this guitar's done for now. We'll see. We'll see in a year. But I'm really happy with the way it came out now, and I think it looks really good. It plays really good. It sounds really good. That's what you want out of a guitar, right? All right. I'm Spencer Thomas. I want to thank you for watching Learning Curve. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a fun summer. I hope you're out there, you know, playing your guitar outdoors, maybe doing some live shows, maybe doing your first live show. Maybe you learned enough over COVID that you can take your guitar out into the world and share the gift of rock with them. And if so, hats off to you. It's been a crazy year, so enjoy the summer. I'm Spencer Thomas. I want to thank you for watching Learning Curve. Try to be nice to each other. We'll see you next week.